Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SB Singh Show, a talk show about digital transformation where we invite different guests, share their experiences from different aspects, whether it is finance, strategy, agile, different aspects of multidisciplinary stream, which is digital transformation. So today we are going to cover from human resource, HR side of things, where we're going to talk about leadership, change management, why people resist change. That's the core component of any digital transformation. And we've got a very special guest today. We've got James Bryden. James, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Great. Thank you, James. I know James from, I think, last 2 years. Initially, we met at District 32 morning event. James introduced me to the basics of networking, and that I knew nothing about networking at that point in time. So he stepped me through, helped me about what networking is all about. And I sincerely thank James, and we are friends and catching up almost every fortnightly during our networking events. So I think James have got a lot of value to add. He's got wealth of experience in understanding humans in general and throughout his career, whether it is during Royal Marines and while he was he had his business and coaching, and he's got a wealth of experience. We're going to uncover all these aspects throughout this podcast and learn from James. And the special aspect which we're going to uncover is all about teams, human resource, and the problems, challenges, opportunities we have from the human element within any digital transformation. Okay, James, let's get into it. So how about you share a little bit of your background before we get into the details?
Okay, right. Well, originally, as you probably can tell, I'm from the UK, but I've been here nearly 50 years. But before I came out, I was actually in the Royal Marines, did my commando training there, and decided that I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah.
No, not for me. So I then came to Australia on my own, left the family behind, and ended up running my own business for 25 years or so until I went bankrupt, which is another story. Then, to cut the story short, I ended up as head coach of the national youth team of Indonesia, which went on for a couple of years, which was quite stressful. It was a very high-profile position where I ended up being on TV and back pages of papers and
celebrity
sort of stuff. Not really, no. Not really. We won one game in a competition against Thailand, and I ended up in they used to call me Mr. Jim. Mr. Jim, come here. So I went under the stand and into this room. It's packed full of journalists, and I'm sitting there pinching myself. What is this? So that was just a really valuable experience. Loved having the experience, but it became clear to me that coaching football was not my scene.
Okay.
Because I'd played semi-professional soccer for many years and coached for many years. I had all the qualifications, of course. But most of the stuff I was doing was really 2 or 3 nights a week, half a day on the weekend.
Yes.
Suddenly it became two sessions a day.
Yes.
Every day.
Yes.
And so there was no rest. And you soon find out the job of your dreams, or whether the job of your dreams is really that, after all. So anyway, I never went near a game after I came back. I never went near a game for probably 6 years.
Okay.
I just had enough. So yeah.
And then you started. You were introduced to Harrison.
Yeah. I got introduced to that a few years after I got back, and it introduced me to aspects of myself.
Okay.
that I soon realised had been actually counterproductive to me for all these years. And it caused my bankruptcy.
Okay.
So that was really eye-opening, quite confronting actually.
Okay.
So since then it's been a real journey.
Good.
Of getting deeper and deeper into understanding myself and
Okay.
who I am and what I'm about. So.
Okay. Interesting. So for the listeners who are not aware about Harrison assessment, it is and James, correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is it's a very detailed tool that tells human psychology or strengths, weaknesses, or how a given individual looks at the world or how we look at specific individuals. It's an assessment tool that tells for a given person all these different elements, these different dimensions to understand in depth what that specific human is all about.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the whole questionnaire that we give people, pardon me, I have a bit of a frog in my throat, is really about, we want to know what people enjoy doing, both from a motivational side, interests, what sort of tasks you enjoy, what sort of behavioural characteristics you have. And we measure about 175 different traits and factors that build up a really clear picture of one's way of being. And it also uncovers areas where counterproductive behaviours start to show up. We call those imbalances. And getting some insight into, how your greatest strengths that you think are really, really strong parts of you can actually be quite counterproductive if they're not balanced well.
Yes.
So, and of course they cause all sorts of stress behaviours if they're not addressed.
Yes. No, it's I think it's these tools, there's so much to offer, and we'll touch on that, but just reverting back, I think the Harrison assessment help you as an individual to understand more about yourself at a more detailed level. And then, as you mentioned.
Well, yes, from a coaching perspective, that's how we'd use it. But we also use it for probably more frequently for recruitment.
Okay.
We want to understand what we're getting or potentially that we're going to employ. We want to understand what their strengths are. Are they a good fit for the team? And so on. And what sort of stress behaviours do they have? How do they need to be managed? So, how they're going to get on with their teammates? What are the main drivers?
Yes.
What do they avoid doing?
Okay.
Those sorts of things.
Okay.
So it's quite comprehensive, and we can match people's behaviours to specific roles quite easily.
Great. Now that's good. So that's for the listeners. If you're not aware of Harrison assessment, must have a look, Google it, and I'll put details of James on the show notes. And feel free to get in touch and learn more about the assessment. Shifting gears, one of the key challenges we have is we've got a team. We know there are, say, 10 people, and how we learn enough about them so we can put them in the right spot within a project team, so we understand about their strengths, weaknesses, what motivates them, and we put them in the right spots. And each person is different, so what communication methods would work? What are your thoughts on when we are embarking a journey on the digital transformation? We are forming this team, and this can be complex. There can be teams within the client side. There are vendors we don't have any control over, and there can be multiple vendors. So consider there is a mob of 30 individuals from a client vendor side interacting, trying to work this out. One of the key problems we face is we don't know who should play which role, and how we can simplify communication, how we can learn more about these individuals. So what your thoughts are? Okay.
Right. Well, the first thing you need to do is define the roles. So what exactly are you looking for? From a competency perspective, so qualifications, experience, those sorts of things, but also from a behavioural side. So it's like putting a a football team or a cricket team
Yes.
or whatever together.
Yes.
Okay, you don't want everyone to be the same.
Yes.
There's no point.
Yes.
So different temperaments are required for different roles. For instance, you put a project team together, there's obviously technical people you want who are highly analytical.
Yes.
And they're focused on, and doing the technical side of the job. But there's other people who need to be doing the interpersonal side, dealing with vendors and clients and those sorts of things.
Yes.
Once you realise what all the different roles are, you know what the different roles are,
Yes.
then we start to look for people who fit that profile. All right? Once you've got that, okay, you need then to say, what are we trying to achieve? Okay, we need to get everybody on the same page. We need to get them all agreeing, on the path that we're taking here. So it's a bit of a process to do that, but well worth the effort.
Yep.
To get real clarity around, again, what you're looking for.
Yes.
And who are going to fill those particular seats.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what do you think in terms of, say for instance, I set up this project team, I'm going to invest in the digital transformation, a big project in front of me. I don't know many people around. I need a project manager, a few business analysts, an architect. So there is a bit of technical team I need. I need some people from the business who will be the subject matter experts, providing input for the business requirements, doing testing and security and whatever else. And there is some support I need from the vendor side. Since I may not know half of them. So I know these are sort of roles I need, but I don't know if they are right fit for the role since I don't know them personally. So do you have any thoughts on what can be done?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's obviously you need to interview the people. You get through that process.
Them, yeah.
Make sure that they're competent, as I said before. Then look at what shows up at the interview. Then you might say, well, I've got a rough shortlist here. Okay. Then you invite them to do a questionnaire. That will give you some more information. It will give you some areas where you might want to just hone in a little bit and dig a little deeper. And then you have a second interview. You might do that in a group format. Okay. Then you start to ask those sorts of questions that are relevant to what you've seen, both in the interview and in the reports that we run. From there, you'll be able to get a good idea whether they're going to be a good fit or not. And it's simple, not necessarily easy.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think when we are in heat of the battle, where the timeline is ticking and we've got investment going on, other resources are waiting for few people to come in and help, then the structure goes out of the window. We say we have got 5 people, we choose one and all the best.
Well, unfortunately, sometimes you don't have a choice. Okay, so then you need to understand, what am I getting here? How am I going to manage that? How am I going to how can I, once I know what the person's highest strengths are, how can I frame things in a way that's going to allow them to express those things they do naturally and easily? All right? So very, very important to understand that we're not trying to change people's behaviour is difficult at best. Impossible at worst. Okay, so you need to work with what you've got and how we're going to shoehorn that into what we're looking to achieve. If that makes sense.
So James, I'm going to ask you a very difficult and open question. Why it is so difficult for people to work together? If I am investing in a technology project, I say I've got a budget of X, I've hired these 20, 30 people to work on a project. Why people, the experienced professional people, struggle to work together as a team? What is the challenge?
Well, ego plays a big part in it, of course. So there's lots of areas where, on the interpersonal side, where some people just don't like others. I can give you a couple of examples of that if you like. Some people are highly confident that they're right all the time. And other people are quite open to new ideas and what have you. And this person who's very certain of their own opinion can be quite dogmatic. If they come across somebody who shares the same views as they do, they'll get on really well. But if they come across somebody who doesn't agree with them, then there's going to be conflict. There are other people who are very straightforward, direct to the point, okay, and quite aggressive in the way they're quite blunt in the way that they approach people. And others are highly diplomatic, which I was for a long time. The diplomatic people tend to not like people who are blunt. You should be nice to people all the time.
So is it like a diversity? You think
it is? It's they just don't. What's at play here is that for me, when I was extreme, I still am very diplomatic, but I wasn't very frank, if you like, for want of a better term. So I'd rather not say anything.
Okay.
I'd rather keep quiet and not make a scene.
Okay.
Right? And my feeling was that, or my belief at the time was, you should be nice to people. And there's lots of people around like this. It's quite common. You should be nice to people. But and what had happened, of course, is that I don't like people who are extremely forthright. You shouldn't be like that. I don't. So therefore, I repress that in myself. I don't like people like that, so I'm not going to be like that. When I come across someone who is, I don't like them. And they think this, on the opposite side, they think people like me are weak.
Yes.
You should be straight with people all the time.
Yes.
Consequently, there's a strong, likelihood there's going to be conflict there.
Yes.
And,
yes.
And so there's quite a number of different examples of that. People who are authoritarian, for instance. It's like a red flag to a bull.
Yes. Yes.
So there's lots of different ways of looking at these different types of personalities.
Yes. So is that because we are different, we think differently, we view the world differently?
Yes.
And that is one of the reasons why people tend to find it difficult to work together. And other reason perhaps is egos. Okay, now that's good. I agree with that. How about diversity? Because there is a big talk about diversity. Do you think if people who are sharing same values, their same backgrounds, maybe same race, maybe same country, we put them together, the likelihood of working together and performing as a one team is higher than diverse team?
Yeah, we tend to like people who are like us. But that's just a fact. For those who are listening who are old enough, remember back to the personal columns in the newspapers, you'd put an ad in looking for a potential partner. It would be, I'm looking for someone who's a non-smoker, likes walks in the country, likes going to the movies. You're describing yourself. I want someone like me.
Yes.
Okay. But in business, you don't want that. We don't want clones of each other. We want that diversity.
Yes.
Okay, but the challenge, of course, is getting them all to work together.
Yes.
This is why it's so important to have a common aim, a common goal.
Yes.
Sense of, why are we doing this? What's the purpose behind what we're doing? Can we agree on that?
Yes.
And that will tend to bring people together. And it's sort of encouraging people to be more accepting of difference.
Yes.
It's simple again, but not always easy.
Yes. So what I'm hearing is that there is a lot of value in diversity, because diversity brings different experiences,
yes,
different strengths together, and we have got there is more chances we'll have a more refined solution. But it comes with challenges as well, because diversity is going to bring a difference of opinion, and how we can work together as a team can be challenged at times. Have I got it right, James?
Yeah. I think one thing that you could probably look for in everybody is the willingness to be open, to open to new ideas, new ways of looking at things. If you've got that attitude, then you're far more likely to be accepting of other people as well. Yeah. So that would be one key trait that I would look for.
And as a leader, what sort of values, qualities I should possess so I can walk the talk rather than just talk?
Okay. Well, one thing that I think a good leader needs is the ability to, bring people together as a group. But also, how can I put this? They are the decision maker ultimately. But when you give people responsibility and authorities, they will tend to thrive. So it's being a leader almost from behind, in a sense, where, okay, I've got a team here, right, everybody, here's what I'm thinking of doing. What do you reckon? What do you think? Encouraging people to participate in the decision-making process, get them involved, make them feel valued, make them feel wanted, make them feel heard. Okay. Ultimately, I still make the decision. But if I do it on my own without consulting them, am I likely to make the best decision possible? Probably not, because somebody may come up with a better idea. And if you are seen to be doing that, you're more inclusive, then it can't help build team morale.
And it should be genuine as well, because based upon this advice, and I hear this a lot, but in practice, in boardrooms, what we generally acknowledge is a leader will come in and say, yep, this is agenda, this is what I think, tell me what you think. And then it's a done deal, because what you think as a leader, everyone else is going to be likely to be pleasing.
It's the way you frame it, isn't it? You know, and of course, authenticity comes in here. You've got to be seen to be genuine.
Yes.
Okay, and that comes from within.
Yes, like from heart.
You can't fake it.
Yes.
People can see right through it. so I'm not trying to put on a front here. This is who I am.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm open. Am I perfect? No. Am I willing to take on what you think? Okay. So you might instead say, well, this is the outcome we're looking for. I'm looking for ideas. What do you think? Come on, let's get the whiteboard up and go through it.
Yes.
Okay. Get loads of opinions and what have you. And then and only then can you say, well, actually, I think, and try and get the agreements of everybody. This is probably the best way to go. This is how we do it.
Yep. So one of the key leadership traits is inclusivity, where with an open heart and genuine intent, I want to listen what others have to say. What else, as a leader, you think I should develop so I can develop a good team culture within my organization?
Well, at the same time, you still need to have that air of authority. Okay, I'm the leader, and to be seen to be a leader. And again, it's an intangible in lots of ways.
Yes.
Okay, and that comes from a very strong sense of inner confidence. Now, I'm talking confidence here without arrogance.
Yes, and there is a fine line, I think.
Oh, it can be, yeah, it can be. And good leaders display that in spades. They do, you know. And I've seen many really good leaders that do have that quality, and people will tend to follow them. You know, because they make people around them feel heard. They feel wanted. They're happy to take their opinions. But at the end of the day, everybody knows that decision lands finally with the person who is responsible for getting the outcomes ultimately.
Yes.
Which is a leader. Yeah.
Yes. So the second point is really, after you are listening, ultimately you take ownership of your decisions, and everyone should know we have done our part, and it's up to the leader to decide and be accountable to the decisions that are being made.
Yes, of course. Ultimately, the buck stops there.
You know? Anything else that comes to your mind?
Not right in the minute.
Okay, that's good. And in terms of leadership in general, again, similar question, James. Why leadership is so difficult? Why it's hard to find leaders? When I was in uni back home in India, one of my chemistry professors, he said, don't be at the ground level. Be on the top. When you go on the top, you will see there is a vacuum. There are not many good leaders on the top. Ground work, when everyone it's all full of people, they are all competing. As you go up, which means high value work, you will see that there is no leadership. It's really hard to find good leaders as we do a high value complex work. So in bigger organizations, it's hard to find good leaders. So why
clearly competence is a major part of that. Okay, they know the stuff. They're right on top of everything. They're also very good strategically. They're very good at looking things from a helicopter view. They're not scared to take risks. Okay, like entrepreneurs, they're notorious for it in a way. Sometimes entrepreneurs take too big a risk. Okay, so it's getting that balance between, I'll take this risk, but I'm well aware of the potential downsides. So it's risk versus reward. Happy to do that. So being willing to accept that responsibility, which a lot of people won't do. They're too cautious. They're scared they might make a mistake. Good leaders are happy with that. They're okay with it. Okay,
being vulnerable and say,
I'm willing to take that responsibility. And how many people are willing to do that?
No, you find scapegoats.
Not that many. To do it without blame.
Yes.
Without judgment.
Yes.
Okay? I'll accept responsibility here.
Yes.
Because I'm the one that made that final decision.
So if you look history, which leaders comes to your mind that tick boxes where you say, yep, that leader is an ideal. So any leaders that comes to your mind?
God, you struck me with that one. I don't know. You look at someone like Winston Churchill, for instance, the Second World War. He took full responsibility and led the country through, a very, very difficult time and tremendous courage. I know he suffered from depression and what have you, but what he did during the Second World War was phenomenal.
Okay.
I thought, I'm thinking political leaders here. They're the ones that are really...
Okay. No, that's whatever comes to your sort of mind.
But that would be the main one.
Okay.
I'm not too impressed with many of the leaders these days, but that's another story. No names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about change now. So we covered team, we talk about leadership, why it's so difficult. Now let's cover a bit about change. So change management in any digital transformation, it's all about change, and transformation means radical change. So the key theme is, we are moving from our existing world to the new world. It's all about change. So how we adapt and adopt change. So the question here is, what are your thoughts on change in general? Why people perceive change being very difficult? Why it's not so easy to adapt and adopt to the change?
Okay. We're creatures of habit. So if you've got an organisation, you've got a number of people in there that have been doing things a particular way for a number of years, and somebody comes in and says, right, we're changing everything now, there's going to be huge resistance. Why? We've always done it this way. It's just a basic human trait, I think, that we're so used to doing things this way. Why would we change? So that is one aspect of it. Another one is simply that changing people's behaviour is, again, difficult at best, impossible at worst. There's when I look at people's character traits, their behavioural traits, these are things that have been developed over many, many years, and suddenly getting people to, realisation is one thing, getting people to see things, if they're coachable, if they're willing to be coached, is insight is one thing, but insight without action is utterly useless. And that's the difficulty. Change takes not only insight, time, in my experience. To come in and suddenly make a radical change that instantly is, for me, it's difficult. And it's not something I've got a lot of experience within organisations, to be honest. But from what I know of people that I've dealt with over many, many years, that is the case.
Okay, so it's the key thing is the habit of adopting something new, and then that's where the resistance.
Yeah, because if I take that same person that has resisted change because I've always done it this way, and I employ them in a new job in a new company, and say, right, okay, this is how we do things here, they'll take it on, no problem. Here's our processes. This is what we do. Yep. Okay. But you take that same person from before, would find it difficult to change. It's because it's something new. I'm going into a new environment, new people. It's much easier to do it that way than it is to do it within an existing environment.
Yes.
I don't know whether you've noticed that before.
No, yeah, I haven't thought about that aspect. If we change job, then we are so adaptive to everything. We say, okay, because that's what we prepare for. That question of change doesn't. I think we move jobs thinking that okay, it's all gonna be different anyway. I think we're much prepared on. So it is our decision to move, and hence the change as well. But while we are in the existing workplace and then we are changing, then it's saying, oh, it's my thing. Oh, the world is changing for me. And I think,
and of course that will change from individual depending on what their character strengths and weaknesses are.
Yes.
So some will be more willing to change if they've got different characteristics. But a lot of people won't.
Okay.
So yeah.
And what things comes to your mind how we can smooth that process of change? So we cannot change habits overnight. It takes time. So I understand that. But anything comes to your mind to facilitate change so it doesn't come as surprise?
Do it bit by bit, slowly.
Okay.
Okay, and it's not some huge change.
Yep.
It can be done in incrementally.
Yep.
Okay, it's like learning any new skill.
Yep.
You do it a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, you get practice. Repetition is the mother of skill.
Yes.
Okay, so you do it that way. And then once they're used to that, then we just introduce. It's like coaching football.
Yes.
I've done it for many years.
Yes.
Okay, you teach somebody how to do a particular skill. Repetition. And people will always go back to their most learned behavior. So that's where the repetition comes in. Okay.
So that means from a leadership side, it is to be more supportive, more patient, and set the expectations as well that it takes time.
And the understanding that it takes time.
Yes.
And not to make it too difficult. If they're under a high-stress job, suddenly changing everything let's throw people right out.
Yes.
Okay, so you need to be very thoughtful in the way that you go about doing that.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yes. Good. And in terms of motivation, there are different things that motivates people. When it comes to change, what do you think, what motivates the most, or what are the key motivation triggers that leaders should be aware of?
Well, find out what's important to the person. Okay. Once you understand, you set some goals, perhaps, that are relevant to that individual. Okay. Then things would be a lot easier.
So that means knowing the individuals
you're understanding who it is you've got there. Understand what their wants, their needs are. Because look, employment and engagement it's a two-way street. Because once we all know what we want as employers. Okay, we want these outcomes, we want these KPIs, la-di-da. Okay, but rarely does anyone ask what the employee wants. The most common thing that people want is to be heard, is to feel valued, to be listened to be appreciated, to be recognised. Okay, they're the most common things. But other people want development. Some want advancement. Okay, these are little things that are little carrots that can be, that can be given, at the right time. I wouldn't use them necessarily as
an incentive.
As an incentive, no. But there would be a little surprise. Okay, you're doing well. Oh, got this course coming up. Would you like to do it? And people will love that. They love it.
So I think it's one of the key themes that is emerging is knowing intimately about the people, and that's where it can help us as leaders to manage change and get the right team, putting them in the right places, help them develop, and they add a lot of value because we intimately understand them as individuals. So it's a win-win, but we have, as leaders, as owners of the business, as executives, we must take initiative to learn more about our people so we can serve them, and then they can return back value because, we are understanding independent.
Look, I just, no names here, I won't mention the company name, but a fairly large company with a multi-million dollar turnover. I've been working with them for the last 12 months or so, working with their leadership team here in WA. And the whole idea was I've been working closely with the general manager, and her big thing is we've got to look after our people. We've got to make sure culture is really important to us. So I'm working with them. I'm coaching their leadership team. Not all of them needed it. Probably half the team needed ongoing coaching, which I provided, and all went well. None of them felt they were being paid enough, but none of them wanted to leave. Why? Because they were being valued. They were being, they were being given coaching. They were, given other little incentives that kept them motivated, because it showed that, the general manager cared about them. Right? There was still the accountability there. They still had to get the job done. Okay? And they did it. They were doing it. Then I got a phone call from her saying, I've resigned. My team are devastated that I've resigned. So what happened? Well, my values don't match those of the CEO.
Oh, okay.
The CEO doesn't care.
Okay. So CEO changed recently?
No. The CEO's always been there. She's always been struggling with it.
Okay.
But she did it, not in spite, but independently of him. She made sure that the team were looked after.
Okay.
But his attitude was, all he was interested in was the money. Nothing else. And finally, the straw broke the camel's back. So that was enough. So right now, it's only just happened. So right now, I think he's going to find out over the next 3 months or so what an effect his inability to have any empathy towards his staff is going to cost him.
Yeah.
Because I could almost guarantee that at least half of them will be on their bikes. They'll be looking elsewhere.
Yeah. And it's a ripple effect.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an old saying, it's an old cliche, but the fish rots from the head. And I'm just staggered. How could someone so smart be so stupid?
Yeah. Amazing.
But that's a good example of, of a leader who's my way.
Yes.
My way or the highway.
Yes.
And the leadership team were insulated from him by the general manager. Okay.
Amazing.
So I'm still really getting my head around it.
So what advice, James, you will give to leaders in general? So based upon the discussion we have so far, what is maybe 3 things that comes to your mind that you will like to share with the leaders, the people who are responsible for the transformation?
Be very clear about where you're heading. What outcomes are we looking for? Share them with your team. Get them involved. Understand that and encourage the fact that as you're growing, because ideally you're growing as an organisation, we want the people to grow with us. So in other words, we're going to need supervisors, we're going to need managers, we're going to need executives as we get bigger and bigger. Okay, and we want you to be part of that. But that's up to you. I can't promise anything because we've got to see what lies ahead. But doing those things, giving that assurance, that self-assurance that says, I'm going this way, I want you to come with me. Okay, and if you can do that, you're far more likely to build a good, strong team.
Great. And what are your thoughts on, and this is like a sidestep, a question that is just in my mind, I'm going to ask you. So what are your thoughts on team building exercises where the project team is formed? We have a team building day where we go out, we have fun, we throw.
If you're going to do anything, take them paintballing. Because you'll find out who the leaders are. You'll find out those that take charge. You'll find out those that hide. You'll find out who the team players are and who aren't, who the individuals are that will go one out on their own. And just stand back and watch. Okay. And you'll learn an awful lot about your team that way.
Okay. But do you see that team building exercises?
That's not team building, by that is finding out what your team
is all about.
Yeah.
But what we call as the team building, do you see value in, I formed this team because there's a team of 30 people, we know the roles who are now, okay, since you don't know each other, and how about if I take you out for a team building day, we're going to have fun, then lunch, then drinks, and come back. Do you see value in doing that?
I do, but it's not my area of expertise. I haven't done a lot of it, to be honest, and probably not an area that I perhaps should comment on.
Oh, okay, good. No, it was a random thought. I thought, okay, let me check with James what James thinks about it.
I've already sort of covered off on the stuff that
Yeah.
The visioning, the galvanizing of the team together.
Yep.
But the ins and outs of doing actual team building exercises, I'll pass on that one.
Yep. No, that's good. I like it. Any final thoughts, James?
Not really. I think we've covered off on most of it. No, just keep your eyes ahead. Don't give up.
Yes.
Don't give up on your team.
Yep.
Show trust.
Yep.
If you give trust, you're likely to get it.
Yep.
And that's true of communication. It's true of anything, really. Show it. Show it first yourself, and that's likely to come back your way.
No, that's valuable. And then a few things that emerges often within the discussion we had is being genuinely interested in your team, understand more intimately, see what strengths, what motivations they have, and then place them in the right spots. And then, from a change, be patient. It takes time. Have a thorough understanding.
Be authentic.
Yeah, and be authentic. Yeah. And don't tick boxes. Do it from the heart.
From the heart.
Yeah. And while we said all of that, it's not easy.
No, look, you can't buy experience.
Yes.
You can't do it.
Yes.
And which brings up another aspect of authenticity, which is vulnerability. Being okay with mistakes, being okay with being open, being okay with, being judged. Okay, you can't die from it.
Yes.
At the very least, you'll learn from it.
Yes.
Okay, and that's part of growing.
Yes.
It really is.
Yes.
So.
Good. No, that's I love it. Thank you, James. It has been very refreshing. These things we talk, but I think there is so much to be done at individual levels for everyone, really. Gonna switch gears now. We're gonna do more.
Oh no.
More fun stuff.
I laid awake last night worrying about this.
Now, still you've got some time. So in this round, it's a rapid fire round where I'm going to ask random quick questions to James. It's more of a fun thing. And James is obviously not prepared, so it's going to come to my mind. And
but he's open and willing to participate.
Being vulnerable.
He's being vulnerable. Yeah.
Yes, let's get into it, James. You ready for it?
Go.
Let's start with a simple one. What's your favorite color?
Sky blue.
One thing you regret in your life?
One thing I regret amongst many. Leaving my family behind to come to Australia.
One thing you like to change now?
In what way?
Anyway, and it could be a habit, it could be something you want, maybe waking up early or not doing something or starting something. So one thing you like to change in your life?
One thing I'd like to change in my life, be closer to my boys.
Okay.
Yeah.
So family.
Yeah. Yeah. I got one boy, one of my sons in Melbourne and the other one in Spain.
Okay.
And with the grandkids, I can't get close to them. So that's one thing I would change.
Oh, okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
Top of the list.
Good. What advice would you give to your 30-year-old? So when you're 30, so what advice would you give?
Stop being so hard on yourself.
Okay. I hear this a lot, James.
Yeah.
Whenever I ask this question, I think, I hear this a lot.
Yeah.
And I do that. I punish myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So something to learn.
I see a lot of it with my clients as well.
Oh, okay. What's your greatest fear?
Greatest fear? I don't really have one, to be honest.
Okay. That's good.
Certainly not death.
Okay.
No.
That's good. I mean,
No.
that's impressive. Good. Define yourself in 3 words or less.
Loving. Dependable. loyal.
Now I'll acknowledge loving, dependable, loyal. Yeah, I think, that's very, very close. Good. That's the end of our rapid fire.
I thought there was going to be more.
No. I think we keep it simple, and it's very good, James. Thank you for it. Now, quickly tell us, what are your future plans? So, what you are planning in coming years?
Well, I'm not getting any younger. In case you hadn't noticed. No, I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. I love the people side of things.
Great.
And just trying to make I've got no plans for world domination or anything like that. I'm more than happy just to keep, going the way I'm going in the best way I can.
Good.
And impacting as many people locally as I can. That's it.
That's great. Keep it simple. And if our audience wants to connect with you, any thoughts on how, is it LinkedIn or any other?
Well, you can connect with me on LinkedIn for sure. It's fairly straightforward, James Bryden. Just look for that. Bryden. You could go to my website, which is productivitycoach.com.au, and my phone number's on there. So
great. Easy.
Love to hear from you.
James, great. Thank you. I just want to say heartfelt thank you. It has been such a pleasure talking to you, learning more about you. There's so many things. I mean, I know you for quite a while, but like as an instance, I didn't know you served Royal Marines, and you've got,
I'm a trained killer, didn't you know?
Oh my God. You mean a commando, and I mean, this is true for all other guests as well. It's so much that we have done in our life, and we change paths, but one thing that continues is our learning, and that's where you add a lot of value by sharing your insights on the human element within digital transformation. So
look, I don't claim to be correct in everything. It's just the way I see things. And,
yes.
And if people agree with it, great. If not, that's fine.
Yep.
But thank you. I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure since I got to know you, and to see you doing so well is an absolute pleasure. So
great. Thank you. Thank you, James. Appreciate it. All right. Thank you. That's the end of our podcast, and stay tuned for the next episode. With that, I take your leave. Have a great rest of the day, night, wherever you are, and all the best with your digital transformation journey. Bye now. Thank you.